Hi, I'm Lindsay Moore and welcome to my podcast, In Conversation with SMEs, or Seriously Motivated Entrepreneurs. Founder of Agnes Marketing, we enable professional services businesses to win more clients through strategic, organised and effective marketing. SMEs account for 99.9% of the total UK business population. They are the backbone of our economy, providing 60% of all private sector jobs and generating half of the turnover. And in these challenging times, we need them more than ever. So my aim through this podcast is to provide inspiration, motivation and energy to those looking to start, scale or pivot their business by hearing the stories of others who have been brave, followed their heart, kept their nerve and achieved something quite remarkable. Throughout the series, I'll be speaking to my favourite small businesses and acclaimed entrepreneurs and asking them about their highs, their lows, their wish I'd knowns and what single piece of advice they would give themselves now if they were starting out. So in this episode, I speak to Donna Scully, who is a leading figure in the insurance world. Donna came from very humble beginnings in Ireland, where she was expected to leave school at 16, which she did, and have children and get married. And she thought, I'm not sure that's for me really. So going against the grain, as has been a consistent theme for Donna all her life, she has pushed on and driven her own agenda, driven by ambition and a passion for social justice and giving people a break when they deserve it, as she has been given. And the conversation I had with her was incredibly empowering, humbling and inspiring. And I think you're going to enjoy it. Donna, I'm absolutely made up to be here with you today talking to you. Honestly, I'm very excited about it because you as a businesswoman and on so many levels inspire me, and I have done for many years because I've been following you for years about not just as a business owner, but all the work you do within the community. So it's really exciting to have you here, and thank you for giving up your time to be here. I wanted to start, obviously Carpenters is a hugely successful business within legal and insurance. You know, you are a leading, not just a leading woman, but a leading figure in the industry. And I know that you're very influential at, and have been at governmental level, since certainly with changes that have happened in recent years within the sector, which we'll come on to talk about. I want to ask you, if I can, about the 16-year-old Donna, and what did you always expect to be running a business like Carpenters? Is that what you set out to achieve? What were your aspirations leaving school?
God, no, not at all. I think because I've done a bit of soul searching over the last, because obviously having done a few podcasts, it makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you reflect. And I've kind of looked back at the Donna age 16 and younger and thought, I suppose when I look back, I was a very driven person. Mm-hmm. I was quite ambitious. I was like a square peg in a round hole, being convent educated by nuns who didn't make any sense to me, couldn't answer any of my questions. So I suppose there was always that there. And I mean, my dad died when I was young, but I hear great stories about him, and he was quite mad, and he was quite, he was ambitious too, and there was nothing he didn't think he could do and stuff like that. So I think there's a bit of DNA. Yeah. And I think that was in me no matter what. And I think it was just me going, this is not enough. Yeah. And I'm not going to fit into that thing where I'm going to get married really young, have a family, settle down, and that's me done.
And was that the expectation?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were the only science I did at school was domestic science. So I learned to sew and knit and cook. I can't do any of those things. So I'm really glad I didn't listen to the nuns. But, no, I did nothing academic really. I mean, obviously did maths and English and that, but, they weren't looking at us, at educating us really. It was more like preparing us to be good wives. Okay. Which obviously they failed catastrophically with me, didn't they? But so everything was stacked against me really in terms of education. And obviously I come from a very basic background in inner city Dublin. So but I think I was there going, there has to be more. I want more. Yeah.
So when you left school at 16, what did you do?
Well, luckily, there was a secretarial course attached to the school for a year. And my granny made me do that because she said, you have to be able to eat and pay your board and stuff. So I did this year secretarial course where you learn how to touch type, but bookkeeping and shorthand. And I couldn't do bookkeeping or shorthand, but I did learn to touch type. So that was really good. So then I went out at 17 into work and I started as an office junior in a law firm. And that was the beginning in Dublin city centre, yeah. And that was the beginning of my career, I suppose, in the law.
So literally you got a job straight away in a law firm, office junior. So how long, what was the route after that then?
So I delivered letters, you know what you do, and you do all that sort of stuff and photocopying and all the basic jobs, go to the post office and used to buy stamps in those days. And then I did that for a few years and then I got a job as a junior legal secretary in Dublin.
Yeah.
Which I shouldn't have really got because I wasn't really qualified. But luckily the guy who interviewed me liked me. Yeah. Kind of felt sorry for me, I suppose, and wanted to give me a chance because I was desperate.
Well, he obviously also saw in you.
Hopefully he saw a bit of determination. Yeah. But yeah, I went on and became a secretary. So that was when I was about 18.
Yeah.
And then, I did that for a couple of years and I left Dublin when I was 20. I emigrated.
You emigrated to England?
I did, to Newcastle upon Tyne.
Newcastle.
Yeah.
And at what point did you get a line of sight that you wanted to be a lawyer?
Well, I went to Newcastle and I got a job as a legal secretary.
Yeah.
And I did that for about a year or so. And then I realised that, I was kind of bored.
Okay.
I was kind of like stuck in a rut because it was like I was working for this guy. So I was doing everything for him. And what I realised, I was doing loads of extra stuff for him. Like I would deal with clients for him and I would kind of sort out his paperwork. So I was going beyond being a secretary. Because I wanted to learn. And then I kind of thought, I can't do this for the next 20 years. I want more. So then I thought, maybe I could be a lawyer or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I applied to do a law degree, but I couldn't get funding. So then I found out about the legal exec course where you can do it and work at the same time.
Yeah, the CIMEX.
Brilliant. Yeah. That was my golden ticket, wasn't it? That was my Charlie.
So that's, for people who don't know, that's like you don't need to have gone to university to become, it's basically an alternative route.
You're starting
into the legal
from scratch.
Yeah.
All I needed was an equivalent of 4 O-levels
to
do that, which was brilliant because I had my, intercert in Dublin. So I had what I needed to do that, which was very low bar, thank God. And that's what I really loved about it, that it gave someone like me that chance to start my journey in the law, and it didn't kind of punish me for the fact that I left school too early and, that I wasn't in an environment that encouraged me to continue education. So I was really made up with that and I thought, right, here I go.
And you did that around working?
Did that for 2 years. They gave me day release in Newcastle, so that was good. So I did it like in the afternoon. But then I went to London after 2 years. I did 4 years in Newcastle, 2 years of the course. And then when I went to London, I couldn't get day release. So I had to go after work. So that got a lot harder.
Right.
And you know what London's like, it's big.
Yeah.
So travelling to college after work 2 nights a week, I wouldn't get home till about 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
So that was like, that's when you kind of like, am I going to stick with this? This is quite tough. But anyway, I kept going, thank God. One day at a time.
So you got through that stage of your studies and you were working in London.
Yeah.
And then you went on to do your LPC, which is your...
Everything. I actually did that full time. I got sponsorship. So I actually did get to kind of uni for 1 year. The last year I did full time, which was great.
So when you say you got sponsorship, the firm that you worked for?
I got headhunted to a new firm.
Okay.
And I asked them, I said, if you want me, then you have to pay for me to go to do my final year in a year's time at uni. And they said, yeah. So I got it. So I was delighted.
And that firm were personal injury for motor claims, weren't they?
Yeah. That was a Liverpool firm who opened a London office.
Okay.
So they sponsored me because I kind of made the deal to do it. So it was great. It was just great timing for me.
And so at that point then, it was that firm that offered you a partnership, is that right?
No, I didn't. When I finished the LPC and became a lawyer, I didn't go back to that firm because they sort of made me redundant. They had like more people there and it was complicated. So I went to a new firm and I worked there for 3 years. And at the end of the 3 years, or kind of 2.5 years in, they offered me a partnership. But I didn't really like the firm that much. It was, didn't like the ethos.
Okay.
It was very dog eat dog, and it was very male dominated firm. And I would be a salaried partner. So I knew that they were expecting me to be a nodding dog.
Okay.
Just sit at the table and be very delighted that you're at the table and keep your mouth shut, which really wouldn't suit me at all, would it? That'd last about a week. But yeah, so, and then John was it was back in Liverpool, and he'd started his law firm. He'd started Carpenters, JD Carpenter and Co, as it was then. And so I thought, I'm not going to take the partnership. I'm going to move up to Merseyside and obviously stop this commute that we were doing.
Yeah.
And then he said, and I was going to look for a firm in Liverpool, wasn't I? And there's loads of personal injury firms in Liverpool.
Yeah.
It was like the capital of personal injury. So I was going to get a job. And then John said, come and join me in my little commercial practice and set up a motor injury section, which is what I did. And I just thought, are you mad? Like how would you do that? Because I'd always had a job. I never worked on my own. I'd never been self-employed. So I kind of thought, oh God. Anyway, he's great, John. I mean, he just, he's very entrepreneurial, and he's very, he had a lot of faith in me. And I just thought, and I'm very good at this thing about I'll try it.
Yeah.
Thinking it won't work, and then I can go back, or I can go and get the job in Liverpool anyway. So I have a plan B.
What's the worst that can happen?
So I always have a plan B when I try all these things, but I've never got to the plan B yet because I've stuck with plan A. I've been really lucky. So yeah, I joined John. So that was 27 years ago.
So when you joined Carpenters, they were a very different firm, obviously, than they are now.
I changed the name on day one, didn't I?
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you?
And the letterhead. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was JD Carpenter and Co, which I thought sounded like an undertaker's or a pawn shop. So, and the letter was white letterhead, really embossed, like Braille, really posh. Yeah. And I thought, oh God, really old fashioned. So I changed the name to Carpenters because I thought it sounded bigger.
Yeah.
So God, here I go on my journey. And then I also changed. We were on the river. We were renting offices on the river, and everything was blue. Yeah. And I thought we'll be blue because it's corporate, and there's the river out there. So we went blue, and we changed our name. So the day I joined, that all happened. Poor John. He doesn't care about stuff like that.
But you said that, he believed in you.
Yeah.
And he saw in you that, and did you feel that he, at that point, because obviously, did you feel that he believed in you more than you did yourself even?
100%. I mean, I thought he was mad. I thought I'll try this for his sake. I'll placate him and have a go. But, I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't think I've got enough experience to do this. I think I was 33 or something. So I was like, I don't think I know what I'm doing here. But anyway, I'll give it a go. And either he was right or I learned really quickly. And I did learn very quickly because you have to, don't you? You're learning on the job. Yeah. But I think, he's got amazing belief in me and always has. And also I think if someone has that belief in you, it's very, it kind of lifts you up.
Yeah.
Gives you the confidence. And I also felt with him that even if I messed up, he'd never give out to me. He'd say, well, you did your best.
Yeah.
And you gave it your best shot. So that kind of is very...
the permission to fail, almost.
Yeah, I knew he wouldn't go mad. If I kind of messed it all up and said to him, I don't like it, and this is not working out, and I'm going to the big firm in Liverpool, he'd be like, great, you gave it a go.
Yeah.
Like, I knew he wouldn't be shouting at me or anything. So I think that does really give you confidence to try. So he is very good. And that's why I say he's been such a massive influence on me.
So in the last 27 years then, you've gone from 5 people to 1,500 people, and you've got, over 6 sites.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier then that you didn't really like the ethos of the London law firm that you left, which is why you didn't accept the partnership for one of a number of reasons. So I know this has got a lot bigger than you were probably ever imagining.
Yeah.
But at the core of from day one to day now. What are the foundations really that you feel have been the catalyst for making Carpenters the success it is today?
I think what happens when you have your own company, which I realised, and I mean, John's company was 3 years old, but it was quite small, so it was still very flexible, was that you have the power to get it right and to kind of unlearn all the bad things that you've learned over the years. And you can kind of say, what did I learn good from certain people, and what did I realize was really bad or it didn't work? And I also think for me, and I think John feels the same, if your name's on the door, you're very responsible. It's kind of like it's got, when I look at Carpenters, John and I are responsible for really everything that happens there and everything that goes on there, the good and the bad. Mm-hmm. So I think we both took it quite seriously, that this was our baby, if you like, and that we were going to, go for it and try and make a successful business. And we wanted it to have, the kind of the values and culture that he and I liked. And don't forget, John's a bit older than me, and he'd worked in a big Liverpool firm where it was 26 male partners, no women.
Right.
And he'd also seen where people, that thing where the people don't even get on with each other, or no one really knows what they're doing, or there's not really a lot of budgeting and things like that, or planning. And so I think he had his own ideas of how this business should go. Mm-hmm. And he's very good around finance and, balance sheets and all that, which is great for me because I'm absolutely crap at that. And I'm quite a people person, operations, technology.
Perfect.
So it was just great that was what he liked and this was what I liked. So coming together. Yeah. But the thing that we jointly really, really believed in was we wanted to provide a great service. We kind of said, we're going to be a customer business, because we're going to be looking after motor customers in the main. So we want to be really good at what we do. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point in getting out of bed? What's the point in having a business if it's not going to be any good, or it's not going to do a good job? So that was really important to us. And then we thought, as we grow it, we want to treat people well, and we want it to be something that we're proud of. Mm-hmm. So that was the beginning of it. And we've tried to stick to that.
So you said that you've got very complementary skill sets that came together, but you were united over your ethos and what you wanted the culture and what the culture has always been from day one. Can you explain a bit about what that looks like to you?
Yeah, and I think it's vital for us and vital for me that you have that. I mean, if I was always fighting with him about the people are really important and he didn't feel like that, then that would be a real clash, wouldn't it? Because the people are everything and there's so many of them and they're so important to the business. But I think, one of the things I said to John early on was, I want to be successful. I'd like it to be successful, of course, and I want to be good at what we do, and I want people to be happy who work here, if possible. But I don't want to shit on anybody to get there. That would just be really uncomfortable for me, and I wouldn't enjoy it, and it wouldn't be worth, that you have to end up being a really horrible person to get there. So I said, we're going to do it in a good way, even if it takes longer. And he agreed with that because he is a really good person. So I think the thing about, the culture is a culture of working hard, because you have to work hard in any business. I mean, because you have to deliver. And if we didn't deliver, we wouldn't have contracts and we wouldn't have the work that we have. So, but also it's that thing about looking after your people. Because I think John and I know that we are our people.
Yes.
Carpenters is, an office. It's not, it's the people. Who come in every day and who answer the phones and do the work and provide the reputation and the service. And that's what really makes Carpenters what it is. That's the heart of the business. And we knew that. And I think it was about, and I think the other thing that's really important to the two of us, which is great, and it's kind of luckily that we're both self-made from very basic backgrounds. John hasn't got a law degree either. He's worked hard educationally to become a solicitor as well, is that we kind of thought, we want to be really open-minded about social mobility, equality, diversity, inclusion. We don't care where people come from. We don't care how they speak or where they went to school. We care that they're good people and we care that they want to work hard.
Yeah.
And they're part of the team because we have to deliver. But, let's do that, looking after each other and hopefully with a good laugh every now and again as well, that whole thing. So I think he's very much we're very aligned in that sense about the business and about the people.
And on that, I know that you've got, in terms of the gender mix, you've got, is it like 50-50 men and women, which in your industry is incredibly unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, especially because we're kind of legal and insurance.
Yeah.
So in legal, probably not as much.
Yeah.
Legal is better, I think, in terms of equality, but in insurance, we're really different. And I love the fact that that's been achieved by us in a very organic way.
Yeah.
You know, we have no tokens. We don't have never done positive discrimination. We kind of did flexibility around working really early, probably when we couldn't really afford it or balance it, but I just felt like it was really important.
Like
that,
what type of flexibility?
You know, when you can come in, you know, around when you can come in to work, when you can leave.
Okay. And was that to accommodate women to be able to?
Yeah, I mean, it accommodates everybody technically,
Yeah.
but the fact is it really benefits women.
Yeah.
And women really took advantage of it in a good way. So, you know, you could drop your kids off at school, then come into work.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could leave early and you could build up days. So that really, we did job shares, we did part-time working. So all of those things attracted women to the business, which was great. We did any kind of training that we did in-house during the day.
Yeah.
Because asking people to do training, I know this because I did it, didn't I, after work in London. Asking people to go off after work who have a family or who have commitments it's hard work to do that. So we sort of looked at the things that we found really hard and said we'd like to do things a bit nicer and a bit more flexible for people. And then, I mean, it kind of crept up on us. I think we did a Law Society survey a good few years ago, and we did the survey and they came back and said, you're 50-50 men and women, you know, and you go, wow, you know, it's brilliant.
It is brilliant. And do you feel that has that made people stay with you longer? You know, if you've given it to them when they needed it, do they pay that back with their loyalty?
They do.
On the whole.
I mean, I've seen so many women in the business who've come in and gone through the whole spectrum of part-time job shares. And then once their children are older and they think, this is my time. I want my career now. I want my, you know, and then they go for it. And they, you know, they end up, you know, on the kind of operations team or the exec team, and they kind of, you know, and they go, yeah, I'm here for life because you've helped me to qualify, you've helped me to get my, you know, my promotion and all that kind of stuff. And I think it does create loyalty. The other thing I didn't anticipate, which I love as well, and this I kind of noticed this over the last few years, is we attract great women, even in a very senior roles.
Amazing.
They'll leave probably bigger firms than us to come to us because they're going, well, I know my voice will be heard at Carpenters, whereas I'm in a big firm at the moment, but it's 80% men at the exec level. So I don't get heard. So they know in our place, we don't care if you're a man or a woman. And if you sit at any meeting in Carpenters, it's funny, there's always going to be half and half, or if not more women. You know, it's just the way we are, and we don't even think about it. But, you know, we've got brilliant men as well. And I love the fact that they work so well together. No one thinks, oh, she's a woman, or I'm not listening. Everybody's really open. And I really think I think men and women are different, but they work great together. And I think they bring different, it's almost like me and John, isn't it? It's like you bring different things to the table. Absolutely. And it works really well.
Yeah. And you mentioned that your FD now started in...
Yeah. I mean, our acting FD now, Eddie, started as an office junior.
Oh my gosh.
And he was the maddest office junior you've ever met. I'll have to show him this podcast, but he was such a handful. But you know when you can see potential in somebody. And I used to have him in my office every day. And he kept going, and then he's had his, you know, done his studying and stuff. But it's great to see that, because that's me.
Yeah.
He's me. Because, you know, that's what me and John say. It's lovely to see people like us coming through the ranks. Because I always say, if you want it, not everybody wants it.
No.
I mean, you know, you know, and I think if you come in and you're happy with your job and you just want a certain amount of money and you're not like, oh no, that's for me. But then it's if you want it. Having that opportunity. Because I think I always say that it's the opportunity, because I couldn't see the opportunity when I was 16. I didn't know how I was going to achieve anything. But I think if you give people that chance, the ones who want it will take it, and then you can support them to you know, to kind of achieve their dreams, if you like.
Absolutely. So you'd said to me that culture and ethos I've always known are really important to you personally and professionally. And obviously that's you know, lives and breathes in the people that work at, you know, the family, the big family that is Carpenters now. And then what I have got a passion for as well, which I know you have, is you were a very early adopter of technology, weren't you?
Yeah.
And the impact that would have on a sector really, which is quite slow to innovate historically.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, it has been a real game changer for carpenters. And you know, when I look back at the good decisions I made, and I made good and bad, that was one of the best ones. So the thing for me, which was great, again, I talk about working in other places, seeing the good things there and the bad things. And one of the bad things for me in London was they had plenty of money and they bought great technology. And I was like given great technology, but it didn't work. Because I didn't get any training and they didn't have any in-house developers. So it just kind of sat there on your desk, this amazing PC and everything with bells and whistles, but none of them worked because no one really, so it was almost like it was at the beginning of technology where no one really knew how good it was or what it could do. And they were kind of, you bought it, but you didn't invest in what else and what else can it do. So that's one of the things early on when I joined John. Makes me laugh now. And I said to him, because the thing about motor insurance, personal injury is it's kind of high volume.
Right. Okay.
And also for me, management information. I like the idea of data and management information. This is kind of very early, 27 years ago, is the early days of that kind of stuff. But I could see the potential of it. You know, not everyone's sitting at their desk with their paper files in their filing cabinet and you don't know what anybody's doing. So I thought, yeah, this would be great. So I said to John, you know, we need technology. And he said, well, we haven't got any money and we haven't got any clients. So where are we getting the technology? So I was like, oh God. So I went away and I did some research and I found this company. And it's funny because this guy who runs it, Mark, he sold it eventually. But it was a finance company. And what they were doing, which was really innovative at the time, was they were financing the hardware and the software and the training and the development.
Oh.
So you could literally borrow for everything. So you could borrow the money to do the whole thing. So if you didn't have any money like we didn't, you could borrow all the money. So I was like looking at buying a system and then buying, you know, all this stuff. So I went to John all excited, you know, like, oh my God, I can finance the whole thing. Don't worry about it. And he said, and we don't have to pay it back. You know, I was like, I don't know, we have to pay it back. He went, yeah.
Like, so it's not free.
You know, yeah, there lies the problem.
So you were, even at that stage, almost trying to get things as they should be before it became a problem and then trying to sort of retrospectively fit the problem through bringing in technology.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, you were thinking, right, I want the system to be able to work now. And that's very sort of...
crazy?
No, really, I don't know the word. Innovative and entrepreneurial thinking, because obviously you knew that you wanted that technology to be would be the key to being able to rapidly scale the business as and when you got the work in. You wouldn't come to a blocker in terms of manually we can't process all these claims without the support of
and you couldn't
technology.
expand and you couldn't scale and you couldn't keep control of quality. So it provided everything to me that I wanted, you know, in terms of because the other thing is that, you know, we're in the insurance and broker market. So if you win a contract, it can be quite a lot of work. So, you know, I needed to be ready. I felt like we needed to be ready. And also I didn't have any work and I was going to try and attract work. A lot of it was in London, you know, some of the big insurance companies and legal expense companies. So to attract them, I had to be able to show them that I could do something like that, I felt.
And it's that really that's been the catalyst for the ability for you to scale and grow as a business. Yeah.
I mean, I think that initial investment in technology and whatever, you know, you say about John, because he thought it was mad, but he did back me.
Yeah.
And he went for it. He let me borrow all that money, by the way. And we did pay it all back. Yeah. No, I'm sure he is now. Well, you know, it was when you think about it, it was very brave of him because he's the money man. And he wasn't really a technology person. He hadn't seen it the way I had in London as much. So I think, you know, backing me on that was really, really important.
And wow, because then obviously we go to 2021, is it?
Yeah.
And for those that may not be aware, there was a change in
a huge
legislation
change.
around what's called
whiplash. The whiplash reforms came in,
and that was, tell us a bit about the cap on the 5,000 and how that impacted normal people, basically.
So basically, a year into the pandemic, which was horrendous, they introduced these. They were on the cards for ages, but they kept shelving them. And they promised us there'd be testing and we would be in the pilot because we're quite a big, obviously, provider in that area. But nothing like that happened. So basically in May 2021, in one go, they introduced a new portal.
So the government introduced a portal where all law firms had to basically process whiplash claims from 5,000.
Any injury, including whiplash.
And the portal basically didn't work, which meant people couldn't get paid out for
Well, you couldn't even load a claim onto it to start with.
So obviously, in terms of the whole industry, the ability for hardworking businesses who, let's face it, were just still in the pandemic, then thinking, well, we can't work, we can't do any business because we can't use this portal. You ended up, I mean, we'll all be very familiar now with the Horizon scandal and the government backed platform that was very difficult to battle to get. Well, we all know the story there.
Yeah.
But you basically lobbied, didn't you, personally as a business at the highest levels to get the system changed.
Yeah.
And actually ended up basically
getting it done
and telling them how to do it, and they did it.
Yeah. And I couldn't have done that without the technology at Carpenters, without our expertise, without our knowledge, without my team. So I had to kind of get the team together. And, we all had to sit around, the lawyers and the tech people, and say, what are we going to do here? This is catastrophic for motor customers, for the market, for the industry, for carpenters. It was just so bad to do that, and
unjust. Because the businesses...
we had a portal that worked perfectly fine.
Yeah. And then you had to put, so obviously as a business, you've got responsibilities, not just to your clients to process the claims. You've got, the people who are at the sharp end of having had these motor claims, these PI claims, your employees who you were responsible
all my people,
for paying.
all the people who depend on you for a job, all the people who you're looking after, your insurance clients. It was, I mean, and I think for me, I feel like I was so lucky that by the time it happened, I had that voice. Yeah. I had support. And I think people knew that if I was saying this is really awful, I wasn't making it up, because I wouldn't. Why would I? And I was, and I also was trying to be constructive, because I was saying it needs to be fixed and here's how you need to fix it. Yeah. But it just cost a fortune. Yeah. On companies that were just coming out of COVID. And it was like motor customers were so fed up. Yeah. Because what people are like. I think even now people still have that fallout from COVID where they're more intolerant. Yeah. And they're more like, I'm not having that, So it was really horrible. And I felt like we took a lot of flack, my people. We all had to really stand on. But all I'd say is we really kind of stood together and fought. And I was very open with them, and I said in the business, this is not going to get us. We're going to fight this and we're going to win it because it's wrong and we have to fix it. And I'm really glad to tell you it works. I mean, I wouldn't say it's perfect now, and we do need to do some more to it, but technically it works. We can run claims, from beginning to end, and we can issue proceedings and everything. But, but there's other firms who probably haven't the technology we have, or maybe...
who are still struggling and probably gone under as well.
Oh, loads of firms went under as a result of it. I wouldn't compare it to the post office in the sense that those people went to jail and everything, but it was our version in our market of this imposing technology that doesn't work. Yeah. And I was told the same thing. Oh, it's only you that's having the problem. It's only carpenters, where it's that divide and rule, isn't it? Yeah. And I thought, no, it's not. Yeah. Because I went away and did my research and spoke to other people, and they said, no, none of us can use it. So, I think once you've got friends that you can kind of work with, and allies, that made it more difficult for them, because if they could have just kind of kept us on our own and said it's all your fault, because that is a really great weapon, isn't it, against you, saying it's only you. But no, it was, and I suppose I always say I really hate injustice. Yeah. Really do. And not just in work and what I do, but in any area, treating people badly or, ignoring people or, doing bad things. It's like, I can't be quiet about it. I'm always going to have a go. So they picked on the wrong person.
They did. They absolutely did.
That girl from inner city Dublin was back. I was like, no way, I'm not having this. But yeah. I mean, it was bloody awful. I wouldn't like to go through it again.
No.
And it's horrible when you're fighting every day. It's very depressing to fight every day. Battle. You know, work is not enjoyable.
No.
And I love, you know, I said to the team at the end, you know, we fought and we won and we did it. And thank you. Because, you know, it took an army of us from Carpenters to do it. I didn't do it on my own. I just did all the shouting.
So tell me, Donna, then to finish, and I've really enjoyed talking to you. Look, thinking back to the 16-year-old Donna, you know, for somebody else who's in that position now, maybe what is your advice? What would your advice to them be now?
Well, you know, I do a bit of mentoring, don't I? And I love my little girls, my 16, 17-year-olds. So I'm kind of in that mode when I work with them. I'm meeting her on Monday. We were just texting yesterday about what we're going to talk about. And one of the things I always say, and I say to her, is be yourself. Because I already see something really special about her and she's amazing. So I always go, and it's hard to be yourself. It's taken me decades to be myself. So I try to inspire younger women to be themselves earlier, because we're quite unique, all of us, and we get lost in all the imposter syndrome and all that. So I always go, be yourself. My other one is don't give up, because it can get hard at times and you get battered and there'll be bad days and good days. So my thing is one day at a time, don't give up. And lastly, you know, you have to work hard. I'd be lying if I sat here and said to you, it was all really easy and, you know, it all went brilliantly and I made all the right decisions, because I didn't. You know, when I was going to school after work in London, you know, on this Friday night when I couldn't get drunk because I couldn't have a hangover on Saturday morning because I couldn't go to the library to study, those things were very hard at times. But, you know, the reward has been enormous. So I kind of go, you know, work hard. And that's the one you don't want to hear, isn't it? You know, it's really kind of boring, but it's true.
It's true, isn't it? And I think in this day and age, it's easy to sort of, you know, we live in a society where everything appears to be so easy to get, and it's not really, is it?
Especially with social media, you know, everything's all perfect. It's not perfect. I mean, there's some great days, isn't there? And there's some bad days, but you know, I love doing these podcasts and things, because I hope there's, like, you know, someone out there like me watches that and thinks, oh, maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't see anyone like that really when I was 16. And I think, you know, that would have been great for me. If I could have seen someone like me achieve, you know, things or get the opportunities, then it might have been good for me. And I might have stayed on at school, I don't know. But I just think that's why I think it's good for us to speak and tell our stories, because, you know, it might inspire a couple of people out there to have a go.
Well, you inspire me daily. And
you inspire me.
You inspire so many. Thank you so much for joining us, Donna. It's been
Thank you for asking me.
Really lovely chat. Thank you. Thanks for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of In Conversation with Seriously Motivated Entrepreneurs. If you've liked what you've heard today, can you please rate, review and subscribe to this podcast, as it'll help other business owners to find it, and it may just be the inspiration and motivation they need at this moment in time. Thanks ever so much.